Welcome back to the. There we go. Not master, bro.
Rewind.
Fucking still in training. Welcome back to the
Damn, son. Let's try again.
Welcome back to the To Be Renamed Later podcast, formerly known as Stay at Home podcast. I am your one half of your host here, Kid Cameron, and sitting directly to the right of me is my lifelong heterosexual relationship friend, Power Surge, and we're going to be getting right into the podcast in 5 seconds. Here we go.
Here we go.
Big booty with a nice face too. When you a boss, gotta make big moves. Say you telling the truth, but ain't got no proof. Got none. That's what little hoes do.
So today, we're going to be talking about the mess and all the shit that's been going down at the Capitol. And, you know, that's just what we're going to be talking about today. So, unbiased. Okay, that's wrong. We're going to be giving our opinions here, people. So none of what we say is actually facts. When it comes to opinion-wise, there will be some things that we're going to be saying that are facts, but just keep that in mind while you're watching the video.
Don't come to us like we're CBS or Fox News thinking, hey, this is where I'm getting my, grade are unbiased and not opinionated, because pretty much all of these are opinions. We do have facts, but not all of it is, because it's what we think about the situation.
No matter what news you go to, you're always going to get their opinion anyway, so why not get ours?
Yeah, right? And ours is going to be a lot funner. I mean, there's wheelchair and Vikings all on the Capitol Hill, and this is just going to be a politically charged podcast.
Okay. So I guess let's just go ahead and ask the big question that's been floating around. A lot of people have been kind of saying that this is facts and whatnot. Do you think that it was staged in any way?
By staged, what do you mean?
Just in any sort of way set up, not 100% natural. Like, so maybe the Democrats, so what some people are saying, or just other parties that are against the Trump, because people have already been trying to get Trump out of office as is throughout his presidency. So why not insert, insurgents into the protest and whatnot? So that's what people are saying. Anything like that. Anything that could not be just 100% natural. This is just what happened.
Okay, so there's two ways to go about the stage scenario. That's why I asked for your kind of like, your whatever you're thinking about.
Come on, bring it out, Cam.
I
Pull it
am
out.
fucking tongue-tied
Reach
right now.
into the hat and pull that motherfucker out.
You stick your arm down my esophagus, pause, and just pull it out for me.
I can't.
You can't?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways, there's two ways you can go with the stage. That's why I asked, like, what do you mean by that? Because there's one way what they're saying they're inserting insurgents. That's, would you say, mainly the Trump side?
No, not necessarily the Trump side. I think that would be against. I think in any scenario.
No, I mean
it's
saying the
not
people who are
supporting
saying
Trump.
the people who are saying that.
The people who are saying that. Okay, Trump supporters, I think, would say that it's the Democrats.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, and then the other way to look at it is that Trump incited the riot. A, and B, that Trump set it up. Right. So Trump staged it to do it, because there could be like. It's Capitol Hill. Trump is top of the barrel.
Right.
Like, he could have had those cops let him in.
Plus, he told people to show up on the 6th.
Exactly. He set it up.
I can see what you're saying. Like, how it
so
could
there's
be
two
set
ways to go about it. What I personally think is it's neither. I think a lot of times.
I think it's just 100% natural. Like, this is just what happens. Shit happens. It is what it is.
I think Trump. No, I don't think it's 100% natural. I think Trump did incite it, but not on purpose.
Okay. But that's natural, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, people take what he says out of context.
I think it's a little more than just natural. I think Trump, with his words and with his sentiments that he's been getting across,
I think you're
is
just
that
taking
he wanted
what I'm
it.
saying out of context. I don't mean it just like natural, like this is going to happen every time. Like, natural as in, like, nothing was tweaked. Trump didn't have an idea like, okay, I'm going to say this is what's going to happen. Other people didn't be like, okay, well, we know people are going to show up at this rally. We're going to incite. We're going to let people by. We're going to try to make chaos. We're going to start the chaos. Nothing like at all. That's what I mean by 100%
No,
natural.
I think Trump, for sure.
So you think he had an idea, him saying like, we're going to go, people are going to storm and riot and do all that?
I don't think he had like the whole thing of them entering, but I did think he thought it was going to be like a mini riot on the lawn.
Mhm.
I think he did have ideas of that. Like,
so he didn't want it to be a 100% peaceful protest. Like,
I
that's
don't
not
think
what
so.
he was thinking.
I think Trump wanted to flex and show, hey, this is what happens when you don't pretty much give me the election. Because at this point, I think I think in every election there's election fraud. Like Joe Rogan said, in every election there's election fraud, but it's not enough to actually sway it to either side. Therefore, it's just like kind of like a draw even. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like they offset. Like every election, there's election fraud to one side and there's one to the other side. So I think it doesn't really have any validity to them stealing the election. I think Trump really lost. And I think Trump is trying to flex his gun, saying this is what happens when you tell me and my supporters we didn't win.
So you're saying, so you don't think any sort of fishiness happened with the election?
None
at all?
No, like I said, I think every election has election fraud.
Okay, but like,
Yeah.
so go a little deeper than that.
I
What
think
do you
it's like a
mean?
0.01%.
Like, what is election fraud? Like, what do you think are the things that are happening?
I don't have all the facts on these, but like, yeah, there's probably some people voting twice, or like,
Okay.
I don't think people hack the machines.
Mhm.
I think mail-in ballots probably were
think-
fishy.
Do you think that they were counting ballots that shouldn't have been counted at all?
Yeah,
because that's what
probably.
people were saying in Georgia, like big time, where it's like that election or ballots were being counted after the so they set a date that like, okay, your ballot has to be sent in by this date. If it's not sent in by this date, anything after doesn't count. People were saying that they were counting those ballots.
Yeah, they
You
might
think
have.
stuff like that was happening.
Yeah, they might have, but
Because what also is weird too is that they allowed people into the building, but they didn't allow people like close enough to where they could observe like anything if stuff was going on. And they're supposed to. It's supposed to be an open election. That we have rights as citizens, that as American people, that we should be able to watch people count the votes and see how it unveils as it unveils.
yeah, like
We
I
have that right.
like I said, that there's probably a lot of fishiness
So that's
going on.
fishy to me.
But
for
what
sure.
I think is that it's like a 0.01% to where it doesn't actually sway the election. And I think that Trump just lost. I think there was a lot of younger voters actually coming out to vote this year.
Well,
due to,
this
like, a
was
lot
the
of stuff
biggest
that
voter
happened.
turnout that we've had.
Yeah, so I think a lot of younger voters, and I think
A lot of it had to do with the Black Lives Matter movement.
that's what I think. I think that's what really happened. I think Joe Biden just
The
won.
NBA had a huge part in it.
Yeah, I mean, so many
A lot of
The
organizations.
NFL was pretty much forced to,
Vote,
acknowledge it.
everybody vote.
Yeah.
No, because that's what the NBA did. Like
Register
they
vote.
had like everybody vote basically.
Yeah,
Like
so
in the
I mean, they
NBA.
had a whole every organization that is a $1 billion company or has any validity in the culture was telling people to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like they might do it in years past, but not to the degree that they did it this
No,
year.
this was definitely
Yeah.
the biggest.
And I think a lot of younger voters got out there and voted Biden because, I think a lot of young people are on social media and they're going with what the popular opinion on social media is, which is
And another thing
Democratic
too
vote.
is that people are really, really sensitive nowadays. Like people do take things like to heart, like, and they try to like.
We need to
nowadays
have-
you can't really say something like you have to watch your words, because if you say something and someone takes it out of context and then they get offended, like it's a
bro.
big ass deal. And it used to not be like it wasn't that big. of a
in
deal.
real life.
And Trump did fuck up because he said that he was gonna like reverse like LGBT like laws and shit
Yeah.
like that.
I mean,
so
bro,
like that lost him a lot of votes.
yeah, there's a lot of shit.
That's a
There's-
loss, dude. That lost you a lot of fucking
Yeah,
votes.
there's a lot. I think people were really like tired of how he handled. First of all, there's a lot of things that happened during his election that wasn't his fault. That just are you got the bad draw, like the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was gonna have a good response, but because you're president, you're the one we're gonna blame, and therefore people are gonna be upset with how he handled it, even though nobody else would have handled it better.
Yeah, I mean nobody would have handled that situation better.
His arrogance through it all, I think, turned people
it
off.
just depends. Like no matter, arrogance turn people off, but on the flip side of that, over vigilance is gonna turn people off too. Like you can't just be like locked down. You have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Small businesses, you're fucked. Like,
No, what they're doing to small businesses still is insane. I mean, Texas here, I thank God for our
Texas
governor.
is so
Yeah.
different than most places.
Yeah, because he said we're not closing down again. But getting back to the Capitol Hill, I think Trump didn't go into it wanting people to storm the Capitol
And
Hill,
go in the building itself.
but also didn't have a problem if they did. I think
Right.
he took it as this is a happy accident. I'm going to flex. I'm gonna flex my muscle, because even in his speech of like, y'all need to calm down, he called them very special people.
Yeah.
and all this stuff.
He
and
did. He started out by saying, they stole. This is a stolen election. Like, you can't start out telling people to calm down with they stole the election. You can't.
He's
And then-
continuing it.
And it's really like, it's hard because like everything that they're saying, there's no facts about anything. Just because Trump says that the election was stolen or that there was fraud doesn't necessarily mean that it was stolen or that it was fraud. Because in that video that we listened to him talking,
It was a phone call between him and the Georgia representatives,
He was-
and they're Republican too.
and he would, he did say that in the fucking conversation. He was like, "You're a Republican. You should want a fair election." It's like, he was like, "Well, by our numbers and by our investigators, everything was a fair election. Like, nothing was fraud."
My favorite part of that was Trump's like mob boss, like kind of mafia style threats of like,
What you're doing.
yeah, what you're doing is very wrong, and you don't want that reflection on you, and also it's a criminal act.
Yeah.
And you should want those 11,870 votes to turn up in my name by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because he gave them timeline. He's like, tomorrow this shit should be handled.
Yeah, it was pretty intense if you heard the conversation. And then not only another part that I like, Trump's like, everything that I've seen or that I've from people that I've heard from people that I've heard like what do you mean? So you haven't actually like seen anything? You haven't saw proof? You haven't been there yourself? You just taking what people say and tell you?
Yeah, what he said was, from my opinion and everything that I've heard, people were stealing this election. Like he said, people were miscounting votes.
Dude, come
and it was just
on.
like, bro, when you're, and then they were, and
Come on.
their response was just like all of our numbers say this though. Like
Right.
everything that you've heard is not.
is wrong.
Yeah, everything that you've heard is not substantial to what actually
It's just not
happened.
proof. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have any proof behind that. We have proof. You don't.
And another favorite part of that phone call is he was like, "Did Dominion come in and take out machines?" They're like, "No, they didn't take out machines."
Are you sure?
No, yeah, he was like,
Are you positive?
"Did they come in and take out parts inside a machine and replace them with other parts?" And they're like, "No, they didn't. They didn't touch machines." And he was like, "You need to get these votes counted." He just immediately went. He didn't even address that.
Yeah.
Trump's such a
He
mo-
did for
such
a
a
brief
beast.
second. He was like, they didn't take any of the inner parts out and replace them with other. And they were like, no. He was like, are you sure about that? He was like, yes. He was like, so these 11,000.
Yeah, so these
he did, bro.
11,000
He went right to
870
something
votes.
else. He was like, okay, so I didn't catch him.
Yeah, so he's
You
like,
didn't
okay.
catch anybody. Like nothing.
Yeah, he
really
didn't slip
happened.
up. And those
I
people-
don't think that the election was stolen. I really don't. I mean, is there fishy shit that happens in every election? Yes, I do agree with that. I do think that stuff happens in every single election, but to the extent of where it makes a difference in the election, no.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, like, what the government wants to happen, though, is going to happen, essentially. Because
what the majority of the
you
government,
just, what the majority of the government wants is going to happen because our votes as people really don't matter.
We saw that on election night when we were looking up what the electoral college is. We were like, wait, the majority vote of a state doesn't get him electoral
Right,
votes?
the majority votes. So the fucking popular vote of the people could be for Trump, and the electoral votes be for Biden, or vice versa.
So that's
Or
what happened with
popular-
Hillary too.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's been twice, I think 2 or 3 times in our history that the popular vote didn't win the presidency. So it's just like, how does the majority of the U.S. citizens, who this president is going to represent, vote for this person, but the electoral votes are like, nah, that's not a good idea. We're going to go with this person.
But even when
That's bull fucking shit.
even a little
And I'm
bit,
sorry for fucking cussing like that because I told my girlfriend, I was like, I need to stop cussing in these podcasts. But that just really irritates me, man. That just, gets under my skin.
but we even looked it up that the majority vote in counties does not earn him an electoral vote. Remember we
No.
saw that? Yeah, it's
The
all
electoral-
like it's rigged in my opinion too.
Yeah.
But it's just like, if
The
if
electoral
this
votes has all the power.
exactly if this election was, but what the problem is people can be like, so y'all agree with Trump? No, if you're gonna say that and say that this election was rigged by the Electoral College, then you gotta say when Trump won it was rigged, and when George Bush won it was rigged. I mean, every election is rigged then.
Right.
And also, when it comes to people storming the Capitol, and there's so many things online of just like the comparisons between BLM and this, and it was just like I am also
You can't really take what those people do though, because one of the videos that we watched.
no, not that. I'm not talking about that.
I know,
Yeah.
but I just want people to know, like, you can't just like briefly research. You got to do the
Yeah.
research, because the first videos that we were pulling up and watching, it was just like they were taking the worst incidents out of the Black Lives Matters rallies
Yeah.
and comparing them with like the just kind of chill moments of the Trump rally.
Yeah.
So it's just like don't take the first video and take that as facts.
And what I'm gonna say is that this was not days on. When you look at that, guys, I am in agreement. Like the Black Lives Matter was treated harshly with,
Yeah,
with
they
stuff
got
like that.
fucked over.
But with this, when the BLM first started with George Floyd, they didn't have the
BLM
armed guard.
started a long time.
Well, no,
before
I
that,
mean,
but I understand what
yeah,
you're saying.
I mean, the
recently
protests.
inciting it. Oh, the protests.
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
no, yeah, the
Was-
protests for George Floyd when they first
and
started.
other people, but George Floyd was the
Yeah.
force behind it.
When they first started protesting, the National Guard was not in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's what I'm gonna compare this to is the first protest, right? Because this is the first protest in Washington for
Yeah.
Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have the National Guard there. So you can't say that, look how bad they did you can't compare the two because
You can't
The
compare the
BLM
National Guard you can't compare like the fifth or sixth day of riots compared to
because
the
it was
first day
it was
of
a
riots.
month
Yeah.
straight of riots and things got really bad. They burnt down a precinct and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that's why
stores were getting raided.
and
like-
it was also every
It got
state had it.
bad.
So like that's why the amount of force was present in those Black Lives Matter protests
it honestly
compared to
needed
this
be.
because this was the first day. They didn't know that they were gonna raid the Capitol. And I understand y'all saying, well, they should have been prepared because if a Black Lives Matter movement has that, then they should too. And I get that for sure because I'm on your side because the Capitol Hill should have enough people already there to stop
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
That's how I thought. I
It
thought
definitely
would.
should have enough people to the point to where it can, stop something if something were to happen. Especially if there was a
It's
rally.
a government.
Especially if there was a
rally.
rally that was close enough to be marched to. You should have security there. Now, did they? I don't know. I didn't. It was hard for me to
Yeah.
figure that out.
But whenever you see videos of cops taking selfies
With people, yeah.
that also
There was no cops taking selfies with fucking the BLM movement.
yeah.
At
well,
all.
I did see some videos where cops did kneel. I
Well,
wish
yeah,
they did
okay,
that.
no,
yeah.
no, okay,
Yeah. I just want to give some
There-
cops
for
credit.
sure,
yeah.
for sure. There definitely were a lot of good counties too in general that were like behind the movement. The police chiefs were out there marching,
Is this
people
the-
kneeling.
There
stuff
was
like
just
that.
like the majority was like kind of like fuck y'all.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm indifferent about that shit too. But still,
Yeah.
either way, that's a whole nother podcast to get into for that.
If you want to hear that, we did do that. Go to our Spotify Stay at Home Pod, and we got a George.
It's in there
Floyd
somewhere.
episode.
Yeah, George Floyd. It's named George
Yeah.
Floyd. Mm-hmm.
But whenever you see cops taking selfies with these people who are rioting and stuff, that's what makes people like look. The white people that riot get a selfie, and we
Right.
get rubber
Bullet.
bullets to the face.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. I mean, it has some validity,
It does have some for sure.
and it's just like that's also what points to it being staged. I just don't think the Democrats, the government officials that were hiding like they were doing a elementary school drill for a bombing threat.
Fetal physician laying on the ground under the seats.
Yeah, and there's one guy pointing a gun, and he's like a
Point
judge,
blank, bro.
point blank at somebody that's yelling at him in through,
Through
like
a little
window.
a little peephole window.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't think those people that were willing to take someone's life to protect themselves were the ones setting it up.
Yeah, no. That makes sense because, yeah,
Nobody
they're not
wants to
gonna
take a life.
I'd say they're not gonna set it up to take a life for
Yeah.
sure. I don't agree with that. It's just, ooh, yeah, that because like 4 people did end up dying. 4 people died. Three rioters or 3 Trump protesters or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then one, what was it? An ex-pilot, Navy or Air Force?
Air Force. I don't know if she was a pilot, but she was a ex-Navy, ex-Air Force.
I think it was Air Force.
Yeah, but if you're in the Air Force, that doesn't mean you're a pilot.
I think that's what they said though. Either way,
Oh,
she
what?
served like
Okay.
20 years or something like that.
Which to me, when you're in the armed forces, and I get it, everybody is different. Like, if I just feel, because all my brothers are in the armed forces, and all of them have sense,
Have
right?
what?
Have sense.
Oh yeah, have sense.
And it's just like, I feel like if you were in the armed forces,
See, but
even
I
if
was
you
confused.
disagree,
Was she part of the rally, or was she in the?
she was trying to jump in.
Okay.
They were inside the
Gotcha.
Capitol.
Okay, understood.
Another
That
rioter
was a
broke the
question I
window.
wanted to ask you.
Yeah,
Okay.
another rioter broke the window. She was climbing to jump in, and they bow, bow, bow.
Dang, bro.
Boop, 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 boop,
Yeah, for real,
boom.
yeah, you would think that you had more sense. You can't
Yeah.
just be out there just like, fucking Trump.
And Air Force is like the smart people of the armed forces too.
Yeah, I mean, you take what you can. Every force has their smart people. So.
No, but I'm saying like if you ask like Army, Navy, and all that, they would say Air Force, Navy, Marines, Army, National Guard. That's how my brothers told me.
Okay, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know because I have a family that was in the Marines and in the Navy
They say
and in the Army.
they say all the nerds go to Air Force, and then like
I mean, you do have
yeah.
to be smart as shit to like,
Because
if you
it-
are flying. Like,
because with the Air Force, even to get in there, like, 'cause my brother wasn't a pilot or anything, but he was in the Air Force. My other brother was in the Air Force too. But like to get
the
in,
score so high.
the score, you have to score higher than the Army. You have to score higher than the
Gotcha.
Marines. I think Navy is around the same.
Gotcha.
So like technically, you do have to be
The
smarter.
most
to get in there.
badasses are the fucking Rangers and the SEALs.
Yeah, those is the special ops,
Special
bro.
ops, bro. They go hard.
I couldn't do that.
I
By the
couldn't
way,
do that.
Army, Air Force, if you're listening, I've tried like 8 times. I scored like a 90 on my ASVAB.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's out of 100.
Okay.
And like, what the fuck, bro? Like, come on, please. Like,
'Cause your
I would have
knee,
went in
man.
and it wasn't my knee. What was it this time? Oh,
Your
it was my
balls?
charge. Well, no, I got a clearance for that. It was my weed charge.
Damn, Cam, come on.
No, I-
2-week drug seller.
Like
Can't make it,
two
bro.
week, 2 week drug dealer fucked up my whole life, bro. That's such bullshit, bro. Because when I was out here slinging lean, I didn't get caught once. Well, 2 weeks on the weed, it's a gateway. Let me tell you. You know, you open them gates to the weed hell, and you're just going down a bad path.
It's going downhill from there.
Yeah, you're going
You're gonna
downhill.
do meth.
No, oh yeah, you're
Next thing-
definitely in the
next
in
thing
the
you
market
know,
for
you're
meth.
6 feet under.
Next thing you
Or
know,
in behind bars.
next thing you know, you're smoking the meth stick, injecting yourself with steroids, trying to get a good pump in like you're in jail. You're just prepping. But hey, you're not down there doing push-ups. You're slanging weight. And that's not something you want to do, guys. Let me tell
Sometimes
you.
you can just go.
What do you mean?
Your imagination is amazing.
Oh, bro,
You
yeah.
you can just like once something kicks in, you just.
I was about to keep going, but it was about to get into a whole storyline, and I,
I
was
could
like,
only
don't
imagine
want
how
that.
deep it was about to be.
Bro, when I was in
You
high
probably
school,
were about to write a children's book, but like rated R version.
no, what I was about to do is actually describe someone's life from beginning to end. Like, come up with a name. Like, I was gonna go with Gerald, but he goes by G Star.
Gerald, but goes by G Star.
Yeah, Gerald with a G. You got to. But I was gonna give his whole background, his story about how his wife divorced him, and then that's what triggered him into the
Yeah,
drug.
we don't need to
Yeah.
go into all that.
So that's why I stopped. That's why I stopped abruptly and just said I was slinging weight.
Dude, one crazy thing that happened for sure though. Like, people were stealing documents from the fucking building. Documents, laptops, like Nancy Pelosi. Like, there was a straight up document from the Honorable Billy Long to Nancy Pelosi. And some dude was just taking a picture with it. It's like, that is absolutely amazing. And I love how, like, I was reading a report.
He had a turkey neck.
He did, bro. And I was reading a report, and they were talking about like documents, and this was stolen, and podiums, and desks, and signs, and then they were like, and supposedly laptops were compromised. It's like,
iPads. Too.
were they? Yeah, and iPads, but they were like all the like real shit like that could like cause some damage, like like some Hillary Clinton stuff.
Yeah.
They were like supposedly compromised. It's just like, did they or did they not take the
supposedly.
laptops? It's like, if they did or didn't.
Well,
Why
I
are
think
you
what they're
not?
saying when they say supposedly compromised is that they were taken, but people actually got into them. Like compromised as in they
No,
logged
they
on,
were meaning
right?
like, they were meaning like stolen. That's
Oh,
all
okay.
they meant. Is like
Okay.
stolen. Like,
Because what I was about to say is
because yeah, compromise can mean like,
Yeah.
okay, information was compromised.
Yeah.
But they weren't saying like anything about information being compromised or like a laptop breach or something like that. It was just like them supposedly taking laptops or laptops or like government officials being government files being compromised.
Yeah, because what I was about to ask is I don't know if it's the same for all government employees, which I think it is, but at least in like the armed forces, when you get a laptop from them, the only way to log on and even be able to get into it is you insert your like badge, like your armed forces badge into it, and then you can get onto it. It has a little chip
Yeah.
that lets you log onto it, which I'm pretty sure the government officials probably have that as well, especially that high.
Yeah.
So there's no way that so those people that are stealing it, you're idiots. There's no way you're getting into it.
Right. That's what my girlfriend was saying too. She
Yeah.
was like, it's not like they would be able to like get into it anyway, even if they did take it.
Yeah, and it's just like most government officials' laptops are those old ass 2002 Dell laptops that still have the little signal of
The
like
old-ass
connecting. You know, the line.
The dial-up.
Yeah, that and it's.
You're just like, go make a sandwich and shit.
Yeah, and you come back and you're like, "Fuck!"
Damn it, man.
Do you remember? Did you ever have like one of those old phones
I just made lasagna. It takes 3 hours.
triple layer cheese? I got Gouda in here.
What are we thinking?
So, like, did you ever have that phone that, like, if you accidentally clicked the internet, you had, like, a $50 phone bill? My parents had that, and my dad would, like, he had a work phone, and he would give it to me, and I would go on it, and, like, I'd be playing, like, this.
Snake?
Yeah, Snake, or, like, the little, like, kind of Tetris game.
The ball game?
Yeah, the ball game. Yeah, you know.
Brick Breaker.
Yeah, Brick Breaker. Yeah.
Brick Breaker.
So I'd be playing Brick Breaker, and sometimes I go too hard, exit out, and then like somehow that little BlackBerry, like the rolling ball, it would go all the way to the internet. Click it.
That's some government fucking conspiracy shit, bro. They were like, as soon as he hits exit, go straight to the web. Make him click it.
It went straight to the
$50
web.
Easy.
Yeah,
every time.
bro, it went straight to the web, and you would see it pop up. And once it pops up, for some reason on those phones, you couldn't exit out. Like you'd be clicking,
had to load it out,
and and then it pops up like fucking the lowest form, the imbecile form, the terraform form of like Google, and then you're like, shit, and then you look around and you just turn the phone off and be like, Dad, your phone died. And he'd be like, hey, Cameron, my work said that I have to pay like $67.75. Like, do you know anything about that?
They
Like,
charge
how
you
had your
taxes
phone?
on it.
Yeah, 17 to 75, and then you're like, what? No, that's crazy because like when I was playing Brick
Breaker,
I got the high score. Like you had 9,773, I got 75. I don't know. I couldn't possibly be on surfing the web if I was,
I'm out here
breaking
grinding,
brick. Yeah,
I'm out here grinding.
if I'm in here trying to get the bombs, remember the bombs? Like those things helped you out immensely.
Yeah. That's funny, bro.
But
Speaking of technology, how crazy is it that every platform is gonna just ban Trump like that?
oh man.
Basically every platform. Even platforms that you've never even heard of, you're like, why
did Shopify ban
are
them?
you worried about banning Trump? Like, Shopify? Come on.
Shopify was like, I just want our name in the mix.
Yeah. Hey, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, they're all up there. Put our name in it. Put our name in it.
Yeah. Clap.
Clap.
But wouldn't it be funny if Trump saw that list and he was like, I don't even have a Shopify account. They can ban me. I got millions.
Why did you just sound like a...
My account is huge.
Cartman off of fucking South Park. Like
I'll
what
take
That's what
it.
you're
My
reminding me-
accents and my impressions are so bad.
That's what you reminded me of, bro. Cartman off of fucking South Park.
No, but do you think
God,
it's...
they killed Kenny. You bastards.
Do you think it was justified, and you think they should be allowed to do that?
I mean, if they're saying it's the reason because he's gonna incite riots and stuff
Because
like that.
Well, they're saying he already did.
Right, because he's incites
on their
riots.
platform.
I mean,
Because he used Twitter to announce it.
Texas Republicans kicked out one of their members because on social media he was saying like, "Good job, people rioting, like continue to do what y'all are doing," things like that, and they were like, "Nah, that's a no-go. You're out."
What the fuck?
Yeah. So I mean,
Idiot.
so it's just like if you're doing things like that, and Trump does be putting some stupid shit out there,
Bro.
it's probably best if he's not on social media.
Yeah.
It's probably best if he's
See,
not.
it is probably best that he's not on social media, but I am always in the...
I mean, if it's just words though, like I think it is like a right for everybody to be able to say whatever the fuck they want. For
that's
sure,
that's exactly the stance I was about to take. I said I'm always on the side of freedom of speech.
For sure.
No matter who it is, as long as, like I've always said, as long as you're not activating people to go do some hateful, violent shit.
Like marching on the Capitol or something.
Exactly, and pretty much, because the reason why I say that I think Trump low-key wanted it to happen was because of his calm down speech.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't much of a calm down, but
Wasn't at
we'll
all.
be back. Like Arnold
They
Schwarzenegger
stole
and the
the
Terminator.
election. We'll be back.
We'll be back until they hand me over the election. Which, by the way, when people said 4 years ago that Trump was going, if Trump loses the election, he is not going to let it go.
Right. They were like basically saying like he
A
won't.
dictator.
Yeah, he won't leave the office. Like he won't allow it.
Like the people, he will have to be forced out of the office
Yeah.
and removed by force. I said no way. Like it's cool. Like Trump's gonna fucking leave. He'll take it, come back in 4 years and
How do you
run
feel
again.
now?
Wow, those people, because you always hear that shit, and it's just like, man, you're so off the wall that's not gonna happen.
Just like people thought Nikola Tesla was. People thought Nikola Tesla was crazy.
Yeah, but there's a
I'm just
fine,
kidding, bro.
there's
I
a
know.
thin line between genius and crazy.
What is that, babe? What are you trying to show? Oh.
Yo.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so Trump being banned on social media, my take on it is that
Other people should be banned first
no, he should be
as
banned.
well. Yeah, I'm saying
Yeah.
like as well as him.
I mean, if you're like I said, if
First was a bad word to put in there. I remember.
remake. But like, if anybody who is inciting violence or hateful
Chaos.
shit like chaos, like activating
Any
people,
sort of chaos, anything that's not facts,
that
not true.
in the real world people are going to suffer.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want that on my platform either. And
Me
I'm a
either.
private company. I can take your ass off, and I'm going to.
just like no shirt, no shoes, no service, motherfucker.
the fuck out of my
Get out of my store, bro. Get out. What are you
Bro,
taking?
by the way,
Walking
the
in with your ugly ass black toes.
Let me tell you-
to my music.